this very special episode of the Ferrariist where my brother Omar has just picked up his new to him Ferrari 430 Scud. This car is a barn find. It has been sitting completely immobile for 10 years in somebody's barn, literally. It was covered with a thick layer of dust, and it is in original condition. You just don't find these cars like that. Most of these cars are in some guy's underground bunker with armed security guards and retina scans to get into the room. And so to find this one in non-driven condition was amazing. Omar has just driven it for the first time. I want to get his idea on how he felt. How was the driving? How does it feel? How does it make you feel? How was the drive over here?
It did feel a bit special. I've driven the regular 430 a few times, and it's more of like a luxurious experience when you're driving that with the nice supple leather. You've got sound deadening and carpeting and alike. This car is definitely more raw. It has no carpeting on the floor. The door cards are all carbon with no insulation whatsoever, and you hear every rock, chip, and stone bouncing down the road.
Is this thing carbon tub? No, it's not.
No, not carbon tub. Outside, the skeleton is exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I think these cars were really kind of a little bit unloved earlier on in their lives, and the values reflected that. The guy who previously had it tucked it away, probably didn't have as much value or care for it. That some people are now having a resurgence for. It's having a bit of a renaissance, and people are starting to recognize it.
He was more of a Lambo guy, right?
He was more of a Lambo guy. He was more of a Lambo guy. He only cared about his Lambo and his apparently 10 other cars, but this one kind of sat in the wings and didn't really get driven. So we're kind of exercising all the fluids, and I can feel that there's some stickiness to the shifting, but as I drive for the last 15-20 minutes, things are loosening up and it's becoming more smooth. So I'm hoping that process continues. There's a couple of lights up on the dash, but it's going to need some sorting, and hopefully we'll get that done.
I think you'll find it does start to drive better over time. As I've said before, I think these cars drive better the more they're driven. From my own sort of semi-barn find comparison from my 355 that I bought 7 or 8 years ago, that car had not been driven much. I mean, up until the year before I bought it. And even after I bought it, I drove it much more than the previous owner. And every time I got into it, it felt looser, it felt lighter. So, I think you're going to find that this thing really does loosen up for you.
Yeah.
Like I say, this barn find component of it, I find interesting because there's a thick layer of dust on the engine cover. I mean, I think I saw a picture of this thing with bird shit on the roof. Like it had literally sat there. It's awesome.
I couldn't leave it on. And I know a lot of people love to see that thick layer of dust all over the car. Have had it washed, but it definitely needs a thorough detailing. You can still see a layer of dust over the engine cowling and the covers. But yeah, maybe we can chat about some of the differences.
Yeah. So how did you feel? How did the steering, how did the tires feel? Like we saw those big cracks on the tires. They haven't been driven.
Yeah.
Did it feel squirrely, or did even with those deficits, it felt all right? Like it's interesting.
It's a confident car for sure. You can tell outside of the fact that the tires are, quite hard and probably need replacing. It's confident. It holds the ground really well. When you accelerate, it really squats down and then kind of pushes you forward. The suspension feels quite tight still. We had a basic service done. We just put the oil. We just did a fresh oil change, and essentially that's it. Really, it's going to need probably a full going through, but you can kind of tell that it has that history of being special. And that specialness wants to come out again. And it's almost at the precipice of doing that.
It's funny when somebody refers to a 430 as the luxury model, that kind of highlights the differences that these cars have. I mean, I think they're very fairly similar,
yeah.
But there is a 200-pound, I think, weight saving on this. It made about 20 extra horsepower. It has a different exhaust, lots of carbon bits. It's really a beautiful specimen. And if you've been following the Ferrari market lately, you'll know that the special cars are just outperforming the standard cars by huge margins. Like, you're looking at 30 and 40% run-ups within 6 month time frames. So it's going to be interesting to see how the value now we're kind of reaching a point in the market where, these asset class cars are different than the driver's spec cars. Having said that, the car has to have an exceptional provenance to make those numbers. And, sometimes that's not always there, but having a Scud like this is something. I'm going to take you around and just show you some of the details on this car that make it interesting. So, as you can see, looking at the tires, you can see the cracks all the way around. But, the carbon pads, they look to be in good condition. And, all the little carbon bits, the carbon mirrors. And what you really see here is just the carbon detail everywhere. These door cards are completely carbon. The sills are carbon.
Seats.
The seats are carbon. If you look back here, you can see this is just metal plate. And then underneath that is floor. You've got 2 millimeters of flooring. There's no sound deadening at all. And so you were saying before, when you drive, you hear every little rock chip. And that's because there's no sound deadening. Ferrari really went to town on, saving weight. And it really does show. If you go around to the back here, you can see that relative to the standard car, this is a lightweight plexiglass, glass cover. And if you look...
Here's some of that patina we were talking about.
If you look at that, you can see that's all original, baby. That's 2018, 2017 dust.
It's the good stuff.
That is pre-COVID dust, ladies and gentlemen.
So some of the differences, are we still rolling? Yeah. So some of the differences on this car in the engine compartment, that was one of the things that I was most interested in from the standard one, is there's a different intake system. It has lighter weight pistons with a higher compression ratio, and also a center exit exhaust. And I think that kind of sums it up as far as the differences. Yeah, essentially, it's the same.
You've got these carbon intakes, and because of that, the induction sound on this car is different than the standard car, and that's part of what really gives it the appeal. The exhaust system is not that different. There is some subtle routing, like that last exit pipe kind of goes through the bumper. So the exit runner is a little bit shorter, I believe, than the standard. But this looks to be a standard 430 box. I think it's all in the accessories. But all in all, a beautiful car and relatively well maintained, easily restored. Just needs a new set of tires and a spit shine, and it's going to be epic. I'm looking forward to having this thing on the road. And when we get it on the road, there's going to be a comparison between this and the 430. And then, yeah, you'll really get a feel how much extra experience 300 grand gets you. I'm pretty excited for this car. I think it's a beautiful car.
And we're going to drive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.